You may remember in a previous video that Gary introduced me to the Wiha SpeedE electric screwdriver. Now we decided that the best way to test this device was to have a race to see who could do up an M3.5 socket screw the quickest. However, for once, we decided to swap roles in a race. Gary took the advanced tech in the form of the SpeedE screwdriver, while I used an old school screwdriver just by hand. But what didn't change in the race is that I still won. So as you can imagine, this left Gary in a little bit of a stew. Now this is really exciting because we've managed to get hold of the brand new, overhauled, updated SpeedE II electric screwdriver. However, we thought it best probably not to let Gary review it, just in case his ignoble defeat should bias his opinion. So here it is, the Wiha SpeedE II, shipped straight here from Germany, ready for us to have a look at. So first of all, let's get it out of the box and have a look at it, and then we can do some comparisons of the technical specs against the original SpeedE screwdriver. Okay, so first things first, let's get this out of its cellophane wrapper. So we'll get this opened up and have a look at what we've got going on inside here. So this is quite an exciting thing for me. I love a little bit of a sort of a nerdy bit of technology like this, so this is looking pretty good. So this is the box that it comes in, and if we open that up, I'm not sure how you get into here, but it's got this kind of split down the middle, so I'm assuming that that just slides open. Look at that. Well, if they've put as much thought into the engineering of the product as they have into the engineering of the box, then we're probably in for a good bit of fun, because that is pretty cool. So let's have a look at what we get inside here. There we go, we get this cover part here, and there's some information on there, all of it in German on this one. Okay, so that's not much help to me. Okay, we've got some manuals and information on the battery charger there, but this is what we came for. Let's have a look at what's inside the box. I do love this about Wiha products. You get these absolutely fantastic little carry cases that this stuff comes in, which is brilliant. So there's the original Wiha SpeedE. Let's have a look at the SpeedE II now. So we'll open this up and we'll see what's inside the box. There we go, what we're getting inside here. So this is exactly as it's come from the factory. This is what we're getting. So we've got here the screwdriver itself. So that's pretty cool. So that actually, at first glance, that looks, yeah, that's quite a bit bigger. Now that's quite interesting. There's obviously a reason for that, and we'll get onto that in a moment, but you can see there that a side-by-side comparison leaves this looking an awful lot bigger, the new one. So it's a little bit longer, a little bit sort of beefier, and I would imagine that fits in the hand quite nicely, actually. That's quite good. That's quite cool. So what have we got on here that's of interest to us? So we've got similar stuff to before. We've got the twist mechanism there for the trigger to start it turning. So just twisting that will make it go one way and then the other. And we've got now this additional little switch here, which is interesting. You see there we've got min, max, so that's pretty cool. And we'll talk about what exactly that means momentarily, but that's a new feature as well. Inside the box, we've got two different screwdriver bits here. We've got the slotted posi number 2 here that's traditionally been used in recent times to do up the screws in consumer units and circuit breakers and such like. And then we've got this little flat screwdriver here as well, which is quite nice. And they're lovely little bits of kit, these. I do like them, and obviously they are insulated, VDE rated up to 1000 volts, so absolutely fantastic. So that's really good. Interesting that one's red and one's yellow, and again there's a reason for that as well, so we'll have a look at the thinking behind that in a minute or two. Okay, and we've got the battery charger, just charged by plugging into a USB outlet, and we've got 2 batteries. So that's one of the things I do quite like about this, is the fact that it comes with 2 batteries. Means that you can always have one charging while you're using one, which limits your downtime when the batteries die. Now I don't think this will be charged up straight out of the box, but we'll have a look at where it goes anyway. Undo the back cap there and see what we've got. So we've got the battery there, and I can't see any information on the inside of this to tell me which way round it's going to go. So we'll need to have a look in the instructions for that. However, I suspect, oh, just down the bottom there, yeah, there is a little plus symbol down there. So that is going to be that end going in there. Okay, so that's cool. Just in there like that. And it's got this little seal on it as well because it's got a specific IP rating, which is pretty good. Oh, and look at that, we've got a little bit of charge there, which is good. Oh wow, that's new as well. That's fantastic. So let's have a look at that in a moment. We can see there on the original SpeedE screwdriver, you had the one LED there to illuminate your work area while you're doing your screws up. And on this one, we've got a ring of LEDs on there. So that's pretty cool. I quite like that. That's a change. I'm not sure why that flashes after use, but that's pretty cool. You've got a lot more light there. That's quite intense as well, actually. So just be careful pointing that at your eyes. So that's cool. That's one new change. That's interesting. But again, let's talk about some of the other changes that are going on here, because some of this is really quite interesting. And I think it's about time we had a look at digging into the technical specs behind what's significantly improved from the SpeedE Mark I to the SpeedE Mark II. So that's what's going on with the stuff you can see. But what about what's happening inside this updated screwdriver? What makes it a step up from the original iteration? Well, there's a couple of key changes. The first is that little min-max power switch, which we looked at earlier. When set to min, as you can see there, the motor in the screwdriver will cut out at 0.4 Newton meters of torque, exactly like the previous version of the screwdriver. However, set the switch to max, and it will now cut out at 1 Newton meter. So it will actually get to a tighter setting effectively. So not only is there a bit more torque available, but there's a measure of control there as well. So maybe if you're doing up switch and socket fronts and you don't want to over tighten and crack the accessory, then you would use the lower power setting. That would be appropriate for that use. And if you're doing up connections that need to be a little bit tighter, such as maybe in a consumer unit, then the extra torque is available if you set the switch to max. Now, quite a nice little additional feature with this min-max button is that actually it's also color coded. So let's say, for example, that you want to do up some M3.5 screws on the fronts of sockets. You'd set the switch to min, as we've already said, and then what you do is you look for the color coded screwdriver bit. So here, the red color coding here indicates that this is best used for the minimum settings. So again, you'd use this screwdriver bit to do up your switch and socket fronts. And then if you want to do up something to the higher torque setting, so if you're using something along the lines of this in a consumer unit, you set it to max, and then what you can do is simply pop in the screwdriver bit that's designed for that heavier duty action. So again, that would be used for doing up your consumer unit screws. So there's some extra little features there that have gone into that I think are quite nice and just worth having a little think about. Now, I think it's important and fair to assess this tool in the context of what it is and isn't designed for. It is not designed to do screws up to specific torque settings using the motor. It's designed to help you in situations where you have a lot of connections to make, to reduce the strain you can get in your hands and wrists from doing up lots and lots of screws in a repetitive fashion. Torque setting bits are available, so once the maximum drive from the motor is achieved, you can complete the connection by hand. So in other words, you get that up to 1 Newton meter with the motor, and then once that's finished, you tighten up by hand and get it to the right torque setting. The other feature worth mentioning here is that the motor is faster than it was before. The documentation claims that it is 3 times as fast to do up a screw. And if you remember from our previous video, that was really the thing that we felt the SpeedE was lacking, as I managed to beat it doing up a screw with just a regular screwdriver by hand. So I think it's fair to say, taking the Wiha SpeedE II in context with the improvements in speed and available torque, I think that this tool is now one that is worthy of your consideration rather than just a novelty item. However, here at eFIXX, we really love a race, and I think the only way to really check this out is to have a head-to-head between me and Gary and between the SpeedE II and that old school screwdriver that we used in a previous video. So stay tuned for that in the future. All that remains in this video is to say thank you very much for watching.